You know that feeling when you're physically awake but mentally checked out? When your alarm goes off and the first thought isn't about what you're going to do today, but how you're going to survive it. That's not normal tiredness. That's your system waving a white flag. And the worst part? Taking a day off won't fix it. Sleeping more won't touch it. Because what's broken isn't your body. It's something deeper, and once you understand what it actually is, everything about how you recover changes completely. Burnout doesn't announce itself with a dramatic breakdown. It creeps in quietly, disguised as just having a bad week, then a bad month, then suddenly you realize you can't remember the last time you felt genuinely excited about anything. You're still functioning, still meeting deadlines, still showing up. But inside there's this hollow feeling, like you're operating on autopilot while the real you is watching from somewhere far away. The strangest part is how disconnected you feel from your own life. Tasks that used to take 20 minutes now require hours of mental preparation. Simple decisions feel overwhelming. You open your laptop and stare at the screen, knowing exactly what needs to be done but unable to generate the energy to start. And the guilt about not being productive just makes everything worse. Most people get this completely backwards. They think burnout is about working too much, so they try to fix it by doing less. They take a weekend off, binge some shows, sleep in, and expect to feel recharged. But Monday comes and that heavy, pointless feeling is still there. Because burnout isn't actually about the amount of work you're doing. It's about the relationship you have with that work and with yourself. You can work 60 hours a week on something meaningful and feel energized. You can work 20 hours a week on something misaligned and feel completely depleted. Burnout happens when there's a constant disconnect between what you're doing and what actually matters to you. It's your system's way of saying, we can't keep running on empty promises anymore. Your nervous system has been stuck in emergency mode for so long that it's forgotten what safety feels like. Every task is being processed as a threat to survive rather than a challenge to engage with. Your brain is burning through resources just to maintain basic functioning, leaving nothing left for creativity, connection, or genuine interest. Think about your average day. How many times do you say yes when you mean no? How often do you continue conversations that drain you? How frequently do you take on responsibilities that aren't yours to carry? Each one of these moments is a tiny leak in your energy system. Individually, they seem manageable. Collectively, they're drowning you. The pointlessness you're feeling isn't depression, though it can look similar. It's clarity. Your system is finally being honest about what's been true all along. You've been investing your energy in things that don't feed you back. Jobs that don't align with your values. Relationships that take more than they give. Goals that were never actually yours to begin with. The emptiness isn't a problem. It's information. And feeling like everything is pointless is actually the first step toward recovery. Because you can't rebuild your energy while pretending the current system works. You have to let the old structure collapse before you can build something sustainable. The way out of burnout contradicts everything you've been taught about productivity and self-improvement. You don't recover by adding more things to your routine. You recover by ruthlessly subtracting everything that isn't essential. But most people can't do this because they're terrified of what it might reveal about their life. What if you stopped all the activities you're supposed to do and discovered you don't actually miss them? What if you started saying no to commitments and nobody fell apart? What if you let yourself rest without earning it first and the world kept spinning? These possibilities are scary because they expose how much energy you've been wasting on things that never mattered in the first place. Real recovery starts with permission. Permission to be exactly where you are without immediately trying to fix it. Permission to feel exhausted without calling yourself lazy. Permission to care about different things than you did last year. When you're burnt out, your instinct is to force yourself back into productivity, but forcing is what got you here. What you need now is the opposite, allowance. This doesn't mean giving up on everything and becoming passive. It means getting brutally honest about what's been draining you. That project you've been dragging yourself through, it's not going to get easier by pushing harder. That relationship where you're always the one reaching out, it's not going to balance itself through more effort. That standard you're holding yourself to, it was probably never realistic to begin with. Your energy isn't gone. It's just been redirected towards survival instead of living. Getting it back requires understanding how energy actually works. It's not a tank that depletes and refills. It's a flow that increases when you're aligned and decreases when you're resistant. Start by identifying what genuinely restores you, not what you think should restore you. Maybe scrolling through nature videos feels better than forcing yourself to go outside. Maybe sitting in silence beats trying to meditate properly. Maybe watching comfort shows recharges you more than reading self-help books. Your recovery path won't look like anyone else's, and that's exactly how it should be. Pay attention to the moments when you feel even slightly more alive. Maybe it's during a specific conversation, or when you're working on a particular type of task, or in those few minutes right after you wake up before responsibilities crash in. These moments are clues. They're showing you where your natural energy still flows. Do more of that. Do less of everything else. Your body needs to remember what safety feels like. This happens through small, consistent experiences of ease rather than one dramatic reset. Finish one task before starting another. Take 3 deep breaths before checking your phone. End your workday at the same time every day for a week. These tiny practices retrain your nervous system to operate from calm instead of crisis. The people in your life might not understand what you're doing. They'll see you pulling back from commitments and assume you're being flaky. They'll notice you saying no more often and think you've become selfish. But you can't show up for anyone else when you're running on fumes. Setting boundaries isn't about pushing people away. It's about creating conditions where you can actually be present when you are there. Something interesting happens as you recover from burnout. The things that used to motivate you lose their power. External achievements stop feeling satisfying. Other people's expectations stop dictating your choices. Status, recognition, proving yourself, all of it starts to feel hollow. This isn't cynicism, it's wisdom. You're discovering what researchers call intrinsic motivation. Instead of doing things because you should or because they look good, you're starting to care about what feels true. This shift is uncomfortable because it often means letting go of goals you've been working toward for years. Maybe that career path doesn't actually interest you anymore. Maybe that life milestone feels empty now that you're being honest. The pointlessness you felt at the peak of your burnout was actually showing you what lacked meaning. Now you get to decide what does carry meaning, not based on what impresses others or what you were told matters, but based on what makes you feel more alive when you engage with it. This might be smaller, quieter, simpler than the ambitions that burnt you out. That's not a downgrade, it's an upgrade in authenticity. Your relationship with time transforms during a recovery. Hours stop feeling like a resource you're constantly wasting. You stop measuring your days by how much you accomplished, and start measuring them by how present you were. Productivity becomes about energy management rather than task completion. Success becomes about alignment rather than achievement. You'll notice yourself getting interested in things again, but differently than before. The interest comes from curiosity rather than obligation. You explore because you want to, not because you're trying to improve yourself or stay competitive. This play-like quality in how you approach tasks is actually what sustainable energy looks like. When effort feels like exploration rather than labor, you've found your way back. As your energy returns, you'll discover something uncomfortable. Some relationships in your life only worked because you were depleted. People got comfortable with you always being available, always saying yes, always putting their needs first. When you start protecting your energy, these dynamics surface. Some people will adjust, others won't. Both outcomes give you important information. You might find yourself naturally drifting from friends who only connect through complaining or venting. Not because you don't care about them, but because that type of interaction drains what you're trying to rebuild. You might notice yourself drawn to people who respect silence, who don't need you to perform, who can sit with you in ease rather than chaos. These shifts aren't about being judgmental, they're about being selective with where your energy goes. Setting boundaries becomes less about dramatic confrontations and more about quiet redirections. You stop explaining yourself so much. You don't over-apologize for your limitations. When someone asks for something you can't give, you simply say no without a detailed justification. This feels foreign at first, especially if you've spent years being the dependable one, the helper, the person who always shows up. But sustainable relationships can't be built on your depletion. The people who truly value you will respect your recovery. They'll give you space without taking it personally. They'll celebrate your renewed energy rather than resenting your boundaries. These are the relationships worth keeping. Everyone else is showing you that their connection to you was based on what you provided rather than who you are. Recovery from burnout isn't about returning to your previous capacity. It's about building a completely different system that doesn't lead to burnout in the first place. This means changing how you think about effort, rest, success, and worth. The old model was push until you break, recover barely enough to function, then push again. The new model is operate sustainably so recovery is built into the process rather than something you need to catch up on. This requires regular check-ins with yourself that most people never do. At the end of each day, ask, what energized me today and what drained me? Not in a judgmental way, just as data collection. Over time, patterns emerge. You start seeing which activities consistently deplete you and which ones feed you back. Then, you can make intentional choices about how to structure your time. You learn to recognize the early warning signs that you're slipping back into old patterns. That feeling of dread on Sunday evenings, the irritability that creeps in when you're overcommitted, the way your body tenses up when certain notifications arrive. Instead of ignoring these signals and powering through, you now treat them as urgent messages requiring immediate adjustment. The goal isn't to never feel tired or stressed. It's to never again reach the point where everything feels pointless. You maintain enough margin in your life that challenges feel engaging rather than overwhelming. You protect your energy like the limited resource it is. You say no early and often instead of waiting until you're desperate. Your definition of a successful day changes. Instead of measuring it by how much you accomplished, you measure it by how aligned you felt. Did you spend time on what actually matters? Did you honor your energy levels? Did you make choices that supported your well-being? These become your metrics for a life that works. Getting your energy back isn't a one-time fix. It's an ongoing practice of noticing when you're slipping back into depletion patterns and course-correcting before you crash. Some weeks you'll nail it. Other weeks you'll find yourself overcommitted again. The difference is that now you have awareness. You catch yourself earlier. You make adjustments faster. You don't wait until everything feels pointless to make changes. Life will keep presenting situations that test your boundaries. Job opportunities that look impressive but require sacrificing your peace. Relationships that seem exciting but leave you drained. Projects that sound meaningful but don't align with how you actually want to spend your energy. Each one is a chance to practice choosing yourself, even when it's uncomfortable, even when people don't understand. The energy you're rebuilding isn't just for productivity, it's for presence, for noticing the taste of your coffee, for actually listening when someone talks to you, for feeling genuinely interested in your own life again. This quality of aliveness is what burnout stole from you. Reclaiming it means protecting it fiercely. You'll have moments where you doubt whether this new way of operating is sustainable. When everyone around you is grinding and hustling, moving slowly can feel like falling behind. But burnout isn't an achievement badge. Running yourself into the ground doesn't make you more dedicated. It makes you unavailable for the things that actually matter. Everything feels pointless when you're burnt out because your system is finally telling you the truth about what hasn't been working. The emptiness isn't the problem. It's the doorway to building something real. Getting your energy back means letting go of who you've been trying to be and allowing yourself to operate from what's actually true for you. You're not broken for being here. You're not behind for needing to rebuild. You're human and you've been running a system that was never designed for sustainability. Now you know better. Now you can build different. If this resonated with you, drop a comment and tell me, what's one thing you're ready to stop forcing? I read every comment and your answer might help someone else realize they're not alone in this. And if you found value in this video, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Hit that like button if you want more content about building a life that doesn't burn you out. Your energy matters, how you spend it matters, and you deserve to feel alive in your own life again. The pointlessness you've been feeling, it's not permanent, it's just the signal that it's time to rebuild, and you're already doing it.